Hey guys, Boris Schlossberg from BKT. Great to be with you. I'm sorry I'm late today, but I've been in our Chicago office all week long, so I'm a little bit delayed in posting the commentary this week. Nevertheless, I think it's going to be a good one because I want to show you my fade technique that I was trading this week before when I had time, when I was in front of the computer. The first trade was actually the worst trade of the week, and it gives you an example of just how trade ideas evolve. You're never going to get the first one to be quite correct. The whole notion here is you got an uptrend in dollar yen, and the uptrend, this was I think a fake out rally on the bailout news. The uptrend eventually peters out around 106.55 or so. Once it gives back more than 50 points, so once it breaks the 106 handle, under my conditions, that's a pretty good high probability short with a 50-point target, 50-point stop, because at this point means the price action is given back enough of a correction to say that the trend may be in a temporary correction. Of course, I never get in at 106. I get in at like 77. The thing actually hung out. My stop was all the way up at 106.50, much higher than it should have been. But basically, I was just experimenting. Then, finally, when the price action comes in, and this is the irony of the whole thing, but basically, when the price action comes in, I decide, oh no, I can't even hold on to the full 50 point. I'm gonna cover at 60. The moment I covered, the whole thing actually went all the way to my target. It's called the sacrifice to the gods. It happens in trading all the time. However, the kernel of the idea really generated off of this kind of a setup. And let me show you a much better execution of the same idea that happened on pound yen. So here's pound yen, where we have, if I go back a little bit more, you see that we've had a pretty strong downtrend. In the pound yen here, again, a correction of more than 50 points. And the key thing is I really want to have a correction of more than 50 points against the prior trend to give me confidence that it's going to work. So in this particular case, I actually bought 89, sold 89.50 about 2 hours later. It was a great counter trend move. Finally, I want to show you an interesting flow move. This is a trend trade, again trading levels that I did just before I left and before I started trading. This was a situation where I actually joined the trend, and again here it's a different scenario, but also works very well in terms of levels. We had the Russians pretty much sell the 41.50. Euro started to really collapse. This was a couple of days ago before I left for Chicago. I joined the move once it broke 40.50 on the assumption that 40.100 was going to be targeted based upon flow. And this was actually the counter type of a play from the ones that we did before, but still using pretty much the same principle of levels. And then finally, here's a trade I wish I had done, but I was actually in the middle of a seminar, and I was trying to call this out, and it would have worked very, very nicely. Let me see if I can pull it out for you here, guys. Okay, yeah, this was the trade. So here we have Euro in a pretty much long continuous downtrend. It bottoms out at 37.40. I would not be a buyer until 3800 because again I want to see 50 points or more of the move before I'm a buyer. So it goes to 3800. My stop is 37.50. I'm long here. You actually would have to suffer a little bit of backtrack action against you, and then ultimately, of course, boom, takes it out to 38.50. A very good technical response to the price action in the markets. This is Boris Schlossberg. I hope you guys had a good time this week with the fade setup. I'll obviously have a lot more information as we go through for the next couple of weeks, and I'll show you more trades. And I'll talk to you later. Boris Schlossberg.